Hey there, hope everybody's doing well, staying safe during this crazy time. Over the last few weeks, we have tried a few different of the amp sims by the Neural team. We did the Plini, the Archetype Plini. We did the Archetype Omega Granofire. If I'm saying that right. Today we're going to try the Neural Abasi plugin. I think you'll see some similarities between, of course, when it comes to functionality and how you're switching between the different features. Three different amps with this one. It's got a very cool, clean tone to it, all the way to the heavy stuff. Some very cool user presets that you can go through as well. I've really enjoyed the tone that you can get with this one here. I will say that with the Neuro stuff, you're totally getting some quality stuff here. The draw on the CPU is pretty heavy with this one, so if you're using a laptop, you may want to adjust some of your settings there because it will definitely pull a bit, especially if you're using some of the reverb and you've got your settings on some of the higher settings on oversampling as well as the stereo setting. It'll definitely pull some. So, especially if you're running a lot of different VSTs, it'll definitely pull some. So anyway, we'll go through it, give it a try, take a look at some of the different tones that you can get from it, from cleans all the way to the heavy stuff. That's about it. I appreciate everybody. Thanks for subscribing and those that have been stopping by. Love your comments, love your questions, so please feel free to keep them coming. That being said, we'll go ahead and dive into it. So let's give it a try. Okay, as we get started here, you can see from the first section here, we're kind of on this first amp here. This is the clean section here that we're going to start with. You can see. And here you can adjust your mids. However you want, you can adjust your treble. Yeah, a little bit more there. You can turn the volume up a bit more. You can see also here you have a stereo and mono, and then normal and high. You switch over to high here, you can see it starts to take the CPU. I have to play it on normal and mono when I'm using this laptop here, just because it takes so much CPU. I'll say one thing about this stuff by Neural. All the archetypes, the Abasi, the Plini, the AmpWorks Granofire, all the different stuff. They're amazing, but they definitely zap a lot of juice for your CPU. So if you're recording, I highly recommend. Laptops are good, but if you can use a desktop, just have a better CPU. And definitely add some RAM in because you're going to need it when you start building songs and you're using this stuff. We're at a point these days when you're developing songs with a lot of different amp sims. You need a fast CPU and you need a lot of RAM. Okay, so here's the first one here. Of course, you can come in here and you can see different. They have the logos. I guess I'm saying that right. The Abasi. And then you also have the choice of using, which is their distortion. Here you've got the amp. Here you've got your EQ, like all the different neural that you have here. Here's your setup where you can choose the different types of, different mics if you want. You can adjust where you have, the setting, which is very cool. You can change the type of mics that you're using here. You can just switch like this. If you want, you can just kind of, and then here, last but not least, they have the delay and the reverb here. And just a little bit of advice also, if you are having problems with your CPU and it's sucking power, Generally, sometimes I've noticed reverbs will definitely take a bit more, and that's across all different types of sims. I've noticed a lot of the Will Putney stuff, for example, the STL tones. Reverb seems to have an impact. Not as much, more, delay doesn't have as much, but the reverb will definitely take some of the juice away. That's the first amp. Second amp down here, if you go here, you'll see here's our first, here's the second one. This is more of a rhythm type amp. So this again is, it's definitely got a good rhythm tone. I like it a lot. The other amp that I have, so you have this here. Of course, these are all settings right here at the noon. So you can up your gain. This thing has a ton of gain on tap. This here, right here, will kind of thicken it up, give it a little bit more of a bassy sound. You can hear it brightens it when you switch it over. That really gives it that bottom end there. You can hear this one here, switch that over. Whoa, okay. This one here, when you switch it up, is going to brighten it up. Down, add some bass, add some treble. And then here again, you have all the same kind of features. You've got the delay, you've got the reverb, you've got your EQ. And then here, of course, again, you can go in and, if you want here, you can come in and change the different. And the last one they have here is this one right here. This thing is a beast. This is the high gain. I tend to use this one for leads. The one we used before is a bit more rhythm. This thing has a ton of gain. Turn the gain down a little bit on this one. It's got a ton on it. Kind of 40 on that one a bit. So you can see this one here is definitely high gain. I'm a bit more fond of this one right here, the mid one. It's just a bit more. And of course, with all the neural different stuff, you have the defaults here. I'm a big fan of the different defaults that they have here. You have the Nollie settings here. You can go in and just kind of either do the drop down and select the ones you want, or you can just click this arrow right here and just kind of go through them. So you switch over here. Now it's going to go to this platonic, sorry, clean. And what I like about the different user settings is sometimes you just kind of feel like seeing what the other folks have said, and you don't want to play around with it and you just mess with it. It's really cool having these because this is a very cool different cleaning. Again, you can tell a lot of them come right in and it sets it to the high oversampling, which is really going to dry your CPU. So if you're keeping an eye on that, just kind of pull it back a little bit and it'll be easier. So as usual, you have your outputs, your inputs, your outputs, you've got your gate. And then again, over here, you get your mode, stereo and mono. Stereo is going to really kind of open it up a bit. Not a huge change, but you will notice it is going to pull your CPU. You'll hear it probably scratch. Not as bad. The oversampling here, when you switch this over, this is when you start to get some pull on your CPU. So that is the Neural Archetype Abasi. Definitely a cool plugin. I'm a big fan of it. Definitely has its unique feel to it as compared to like the Plini or the Granifier. It's definitely got a great blend. You know, you've got a lot of cleans, heavy on the kind of, not heavy, but a good mixture of clean to the mid rock and then into the very heavy stuff. You've got a lot of flexibility, a lot of options, and a lot of presets here. Tons of different artist stuff that you can take a look at. You can see all the different stuff that's in here. It comes in the, your factory. You can come in here and click and see all the different stuff that you have here. You have Tosin's different choices down here as well. You can click on. He uses a lot of reverb and a lot of delay. So a lot of times I find myself backing off of that just because it's very heavy in the delay and the reverb areas. But that's pretty much this one. Just want to give you a quick little overview and give you a chance to kind of see with the different features. Again, very similar to the Granifier and of course the Plini, just different in its tone. The setup is very similar, but very heavy, but a lot of flexibility to kind of change what you like. I appreciate you stopping by. Hope everybody's safe, doing well. Again, thanks for subscribing. If you'd like to come by, always love having you stop by and love your questions and comments. So I appreciate it. Have a great one. We'll see you again soon.